basically. So he's got 3 tables side by side, prefix, root, suffix, and then a piece of cardboard that's got 3 little rectangles cut in it. You move this thing around on there, and wherever you light upon, you get 3, 1 or 2 characters for the prefix, and maybe 3 for the root, and 1 or 2 for the suffix. You just copy those down onto a manuscript, and then move it, copy the next set down, copy the next set down. You can come up with a gibberish system that is very consistent and kind of convincing.
So basically, he made up gibberish language to prove that though this looks like regular language, it's just hooey.
Or it could be.
He also named the suspect, which is Edward Kelly, was a con artist.
Edward Kelly.
Yeah.
I've not heard of Kelly.
Yeah, he. If you're one of our listeners, you might want to do a Google on this. There's a language that Edward Kelly and this other guy created. Andreas Schinner, I believe, was him. They created a language they called Enochian, which is spelled Enochian.
He was close friends with Queen Elizabeth I.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
Yeah, Enochian. So Enochian is there's a wiki on it, and you can read all about it. It doesn't the characters don't look like this, but it's entirely conceivable that this guy maybe could have made up another bogus language besides Enochian. But besides fraud, I mean, we're back into the fraud thing again. Another theory is that it's gibberish because it was just basically somebody who was autistic did this, and so somebody was just just sat down with maybe from a wealthier family, so they actually had some vellum and ink for him to write with. So if you're a peasant, you probably don't have that, and or maybe he was an autistic monk. And he just wrote a lot of gibberish and drew a lot of weird drawings and stuff. And I think that the autistic, based on my looking at some of these pages, and I'm going to show you guys another one here. On page 75, we saw the recurrence of a particular word, in my opinion, and Devin's, I think, many times. And you get along to page 80, it's another one I randomly selected, and the word of the day on that one is one that I call Golfaw. Golfaw, and that appears many, many times on this page. The other one, Golf CCAG, appears on here too, but it seems to not appear quite as much. Yeah, which would suggest to me that somebody who is a little OCD, he'll fixate on a set of characters and reproduce those over and over again until another one comes along that catches his interest, and he starts writing those.
I can see that. That makes sense.
And
we've seen things like that in today.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that I can't think of any comprehensible language, any language that we know about that would have this kind of repetition in it. This is not. I don't believe that this is language. I think it's gibberish, so basically what I'm putting forth is the autistic monk theory. Yeah.
I can see that, and I'm not going to disparage that at all. What I do wonder, though, is if we look at this, some people have said, well, this is a scientific manual of some kind. And have any of you ever cracked open a biology book and you'll see the Latin name followed with a derivative that's more of a general name, and you'll see that word every couple of words in there. It's the genus blah blah blah, genus blah blah blah, genus blah blah blah, genus in different variants. So I almost wonder if it's, let's just say it was the soap plant, because that was in the New Spain theory, it's the soap plant, something soap plants, plural, and then something soap planting. I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but I could see why that repetition might be in there for that one, because they're referencing it specifically over and over. And I know that what people prescribe as the names of the plants on the pages aren't the words that you're pulling out. But I'm looking at it and I'm wondering if maybe that's a possible reason for this frequency that you're seeing.
To further that, right, if we're going to take like the Latin name of a plant, some Latin names of plants are this word repeated this word, right, like Brutus or something. Obviously that's not
it's possible.
Legit.
So
that would help explain why it'd be like in succession. I honestly like just throw that out there. Don't know where I land on this theory.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere between the two of you.
Well, I'm going to tell you. I have not had a chance to review a huge amount of this manuscript. I'll probably look at some more of it. I'm not going to devote my life to it. I haven't had that much time, so I went out and basically randomly picked some pages and just started looking at stuff and looking at patterns. And so I started noticing repetition in the words.
And once you point it out, I see it.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage our listeners to go out and look at page 75 and page 80 and look for the repetition.
But also look at other pages.
But also look at other pages and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about the theory. See if you find a similar sort of pattern of repetition of words over and over again, which would kind of support the theory that I think, and it's true crowdsourcing here. So to support my theory that this was some person with OCD or a person with autism who was sat down in a little room somewhere with some vellum and some ink and just did his thing.
Just obsessed over
the
over
one
it
word.
and just kept doing it over and over.
And so there is another theory. This is also from page 75. There's a 4-letter grouping that appears repeatedly. Also, in some of the words that we've talked about, like say golf, CCHG. It's the first 4 letters of that word, which really do look to my eyes like golf, GOLF.
Yeah,
They really do.
They do. Now that you've said it,
Appear many, many times in that page.
I can just imagine ancient plaid shorts.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
or as we saw recently, PBR shorts.
Yeah. So anyway, take a look at that. Tell me what you think. Would you agree that it appears there a lot?
Oh, yeah. But I guess for me, there are a lot of languages in this world that instead of doing like ing like we do, right?
Yeah.
Do a prefix like
That's
that.
possible too.
Right?
But
Doesn't Arabic do something like that?
it's a suffix in Arabic.
Oh, it is.
No, anyway, but if you look at it, though, it does look like golf, which leads me to believe that this was actually text written by a medieval golf pro.
Yeah.
It's a manual of golfing
I
and
mean-
plans to avoid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly, and in this particular spot, he's got the naked chicks on the golf green. Do you see that? It's green and they're naked. Yeah, And so
That's how you distract your rivals at the game.
Yeah. So it's a medieval golf pro. So
All right.
do we have any other theories?
We do. Well,
Another one?
we do. I think we have one more. It's just the one more left, which is opening the gates to Crazy Town. We talked about the lizard people a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are putting forth that they think that this is a book written in an alien language by an alien people who have left it for us to teach us what I don't know.
You know what? I gotta be honest with you. I am so glad that our listeners like that we hate the alien theories.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about the alien theory, and this is pretty interesting. When you get into, I think it's the cosmological section, where there's kind of what seems to be almost like celestial bodies.
Yeah.
Well, there's illustrations that appear to be the Milky Way galaxy, the spiral of the Milky Way.
Yeah.
And they also appear to be the Andromeda galaxy. And the thing is, we can, because we have the technological capabilities.
We have the technology.
We have the technology
We can make
to
them better,
look at
smarter,
these
faster.
galaxies. We can see what they look like.
Yeah.
Problem is that if this was written in the early to mid 1400s, we didn't have the technology to see that.
No,
We didn't have eyes?
Yeah.
The telescope to be able to focus on a galaxy that is so far away, or to have something that can see our own galaxy.
Oh.
We didn't have that. I mean,
Yeah, they definitely
the regular telescope using lenses that came about in the 1600s. Is that about right?
I think even earlier than that, but I mean.
But it
even
wasn't such a high quality that you could see a blob.
Yeah, exactly. At the time that this was written, noted, but yeah, you couldn't make out the spiral arms. Of the
Right.
galaxy or
We
anything
didn't.
like
We
that.
couldn't get the clarity.
Oh no.
So
no.
that's where people say, well, we couldn't see it that well to note all that detail to then draw and record that,
Therefore, it
which means
must have
that
been aliens.
somebody else was out there and able to see that. Yeah.
No, I mean, Galileo was around in like the late 1500s.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I don't know how accurate carbon dating is. I don't know how sure we are about this stuff.
That is the hard part. With
You
the
know,
carbon
like,
dating,
that's
but-
within 100 years. I feel like that's maybe within the margin of error.
But no, Galileo, I don't think ever made out the spiral arms of Andromeda.
No,
Yeah.
he personally, probably not, but...
Yeah.
But that's,
I don't
that's a
know.
high level of detail.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But also, who's to say... I am apparently playing devil's advocate on this one.
Today you are.
Yeah.
Apparently, who's to say that that wasn't just like a artistic license?
Exactly. Somebody just made up a spiral. So the spiral, I missed this particular illustration. Is it a spiral as seen from above, or is it at sort of an oblique angle? Like
It's
Andromeda?
from above.
Yeah, exactly.
It's from above.
Yeah, exactly.
So it could
it
very
be-
easily be people, again, seeing what they want to see and
Yeah.
applying it to what we now know.
Yeah, exactly. And so the aliens might have shared with us the Andromeda, or we also live in a spiral galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the aliens that might be a depiction of our own galaxy. Okay, Devin just held up a picture of it to me. This is obviously a garden. It's obviously a sketch.
It looks a bit like
It's
a
plan.
labyrinth.
Yeah,
but
it's a plan for a garden. Okay, no galaxy. Never mind.
Ancient
Yeah.
and landscape architect at
Well,
work.
It might have been that the aliens came down to us and basically brought us tributes of shrubbery.
I
arranged them.
maintain that this looks like... Hey, I just pulled up another picture of it, of course. But I maintain that it looks a lot like a video game map of the world. Or
Yeah,
like, I don't know, like a blueprint for buildings or something. I mean,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
You kind of say, oh, it's stars, but
and again
Yeah.
with something where you don't know what the hell the text is describing, I can make it anything I want.
Absolutely.
This is why I like the approach that Dr. Bax is taking so much.
Because he's trying to figure out the words
Because
to then
he-
figure out what they are.
He has been presented, right, with so many different theories about, like, oh, maybe this person wrote it, maybe it's about this. And he keeps saying, that's very interesting, but I'm going to approach the text.
Yeah, linguistically, a smart move.
Because you can say, the minute you say, this is about biology, you start to decode the text and it's about biology.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can make it be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I think like his approach is really the most interesting and probably the best approach
It
that
is
we
good.
have right now.
Yeah, although Dr. Bax, if you're listening, please look at pages 75 and 80. Before you spend too much more time on this.
Yeah.
I'm a little disturbed by what I see there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's the
I
difficulty.
feel kind of bad about this. I've been pretty busy lately, and I didn't have time to start attacking this until pretty recently. And if I had more time, I would have been looking at more pages to find more of this stuff. But that's what our listeners are for. They're going to go out and do this.
Well, and that's what the last couple of 100 years of people trying to figure it out before you have also been doing. So there's a ton of legwork already done for us.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any last minute theories to put out on this one before we put it to bed?
Pod people, no. Let's see. Perfect spheres, no.
The Tyler.
No, it's definitely not him. So,
Okay.
which Joe? What do you believe that it's gibberish?
I think that it's gibberish written by an autistic person, most likely.
Okay, Devin, how about you? Where do you fall on this?
I honestly don't fall anywhere on this. I think that, as I was just saying, that Dr. Bax's approach is kind of probably the most solid approach, is that you just kind of have to say, but let's see if we can decipher the text. Although I do like the theory that was floated in the AMA that it was this, like, family that wrote this, and they were all really smart. It has kind of Hindi flares. It might have been Italian. But 99% of me says, I don't know.
Got it. Well, I also really like the direction that Dr. Max is going. It seems the most solid and concrete. I also appreciate the different approach that Dr. Tucker took with the Nueva España. That seems to have some credence. I see holes in it, but I see holes in just about everything that's done.
Yeah.
And so I unfortunately, I'm not settled on one particular theory. I see things that I like that are promising, and that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any theories,
I'm sure you do.
then we would love to hear from you. There's, if you want to see any of the research that we've got, and we'll put up a bunch of this research.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it, and we'll commingle it.
3 hours.
Yeah, 17 hours later, we're done recording. We will put up a bunch of the links. Those links are going to be on our website. As always, that is going to be thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. You can listen to the episodes while you're on the website. I know a lot of people are doing that, and then some people like to download them, and a lot of people go to iTunes to get those. If you're on iTunes, go ahead and take the time to subscribe. Leave us a comment and rating if you get the chance. A lot of folks are leaving comments on the website as well, which is fantastic. You can always get us on Stitcher, so if you don't have the time to go to not able to get the website and you use Stitcher from any mobile device, you can stream the episodes right there. We're on Facebook, so you can find us, you can like us. At the suggestion of a listener, we recently created a Facebook group for our listeners to get together and chat about stories, stuff like that, which seems to slowly be building a little momentum.
How's that going? Is there a lot of people joining in on that?
It's starting to gain some momentum. It's a little slow right now, but that's exactly the problem. It's not a lot of people know.
Okay, now you know.
Yes, now they know. And if you want to go ahead and tell us your theories, you can just write us an email. That email address is thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com.
We try to respond pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yeah. We try to stay up on top of it.
It's not always us. Usually it's an intern, but yeah.
He loves the idea of an intern.
Yeah.
But no, we do try to get back to everybody as quickly as possible. And I know there's a few folks who probably haven't gotten a reply yet. I apologize. We've just been a little swamped with this story, but we will get to
Plus
you.
we all have jobs.
Yeah, there's that.
So yeah, it's
but
not,
that having been said, that is the mystery of the Voynich manuscript. It's a lot of information. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us for the whole time. It's a lot, I understand, but hopefully you've got some of the things that you hadn't heard before, because that's what we're trying to do, is get you as many as we can.
Exactly.
I feel like we should put an Easter egg in for all the people who made it to this point.
Oh, that's a good point. Easter egg.
Awesome, and so are you.
That's a good one. Baby,
All right.
you're a firework.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week.
And you're special.
It's just so special. Thinking Sideways is not supported by the Bagpiping Unicycler. Instead, it's supported by the generous donations of our listeners on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/thinkingsideways to learn more. And thanks.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Well, hey there. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways. I'm Joe, joined as always by my lovely co-hosts.
Oh, Devin.
And Steve.
Sure.
You know he's not talking about me when he says lovely.
Don't care. He was pointing at you, so
That was a trick.
that was a trick. I'm
Now,
sorry.
Steve is a pretty one, actually.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty bold one.
Well, so for the time being, at least, we still are a podcast that talks about unsolved mysteries.
Soon soon transfer to cooking.
Yeah, we're gonna do something else.
I thought it was
this
we
week.
were going to be a yoga podcast.
I thought it was gonna be archery.
So we have a lot of work to do to
Yeah.
figure out our new podcast, so let's stick with what we got today.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
time being, there's still a few unsolved mysteries out there. Oh yeah, and before we go any further, I want to thank our listener Linda. That's Linda with a Y, for suggesting this mystery, which I thought at the beginning was a simple little mystery, but wow, turns out it's a lot bigger than I realized. So this week we are going to look into a very, very shocking mass murder. Is it mass murder when 5 people get killed?
No.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
not. It's not
It's a multiple murder.
Yeah, it's a multiple murder.
Yeah, probably some of you have heard about this, and if you live in Britain, of course you've heard about it. And I'm talking about the White House farm murders, which is one of the most notorious murders in modern British history, I think it's safe to say. Yeah, so depending on who you talk